The Chosen ist eine Fernsehserie über Jesus und darüber, wie die Menschen ihn erleben in dieser Zeit. Wir sind heute in Rom und einige von The Chosen sind auch hier. Einer von ihnen ist Jesus. Oder besser gesagt, der Schauspieler, der Jesus spielt. Welcome, Jonathan Roumie. And thank you for taking your time with us.
Guten Tag, wie geht es dir?
Guten Tag, wie geht es dir? I'm fine. And is this all what you can say in German, or could we?
The rest I can't say on camera.
Jonathan, playing anything after Jesus will be a challenge. What would be your pick of a favorite role after Jesus?
Barbarian.
What about James Bond? I could imagine you playing James Bond.
I'd need a haircut, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but, James Bond would be awesome, but I
yeah.
don't think I have that English profile that would fit for James
I
Bond.
do think so.
Yeah.
So what's the greatest difference between Jesus and Jonathan Roumie?
He's divine and I'm not.
Oh, really? Is that so? Character-wise, how did that play out?
How does it play out?
Yeah. Your lack of divinity.
I've got no reference for what that is, but I do have reference for what it means to be human. So that's kind of how I can approach the character. It's just with, through his humanity.
Have you ever walked through the old city of Jerusalem, and how did people react?
Not yet, and I'll let you know when I do.
So, who's Jesus to you?
He is my personal savior. He is my reason for existence, and he's my best friend.
Do you know Susan Batson?
I know Susan Batson, yeah.
Yes, do you work with her?
She was my first year acting teacher.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Now she's like huge.
Yeah, I worked
amazing.
a lot with her.
Really?
When she comes to Germany, to Berlin, and makes her workshops, it's so
Does
tough.
she still eat the bag of nuts and seeds?
When she not fall asleep, she eat nuts, and she don't want to make the time shift, so she works the whole night in Germany.
Oh my goodness.
That's really tough.
Wow.
What was the most annoying question one could ever ask you?
That question.
Bad question. I won't ask you
that question.
That question.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, I was already thinking that.
I don't know. It hasn't. I'll let you know when I hear it.
So I'm a pastor, and every Sunday I change into special kind of clothes for church service. So you change into the Jesus clothes. You're not wearing them right now, but do you have some kind of ritual or process when you change, and does it change something in you when you're going to play Jesus?
Yeah, I don't have a specific process of, dressing, but definitely when you put the clothes on, it does change your being, your energy, how you carry yourself. From an acting standpoint, that's often referred to as working from the outside in versus working from the inside out, which is starting with the emotional reality of the scene and then letting that affect your behavior. So clothes can affect somebody's emotional behavior just as easily as any other factor that is more internal. So, I think for me, it definitely affects how I carry myself, and it helps, I think, center me and ground me and get me more present with Jesus.
Yeah. So, but you still think of yourself as Jonathan when you're talking to yourself by playing, or is it like
I never
right
think
now?
of myself as Jesus.
Okay.
I didn't know, because it's not true. And it can never be true.
Good to hear.
No, there's no, and or any other character, like you always know that you are you playing a character, and if you don't, that means there's been some sort of psychological break if you can't distinguish between reality and fantasy. There's always a personal suspension of disbelief to a point, but it's always you. You start with you because that is what you bring to the role. Even in light of playing a character, you're always bringing the truth of your interpretation or your existence to this character using the words that the writers have written.
I really like that point that you say you bring you to the role, to the set. Could you describe to me, or is there anything where you would say God prepared me to play this role? Is there anything in your life where you say, okay, it's good I lived through that, or I experienced that because I can bring that to the table right now?
I think, yeah, for sure. I think everything that I've that I did previously to The Chosen led me to that point. All of my own sort of trials and tribulations, 3 months before I booked The Chosen, I had a deeper conversion in my own faith. I struggled for 8 years in Los Angeles, and I worked a bunch of television shows and voiceover projects and stuff like that, but never anything consistent enough where I didn't need another or 2 other or 5 or 6 other jobs to kind of balance everything out, financially. So at one point it got to where I was probably at my lowest, and I was broke. I was out of work. I couldn't get arrested to get a job that was not even in the industry, and I had a mountain of debt, and I had I had no money coming in whatsoever, and no matter what I did, I just could not make this work. And so I literally was on my knees in front of my crucifix and praying and basically pleading with God and saying, look, you brought me all this way. I've been struggling. I've done everything I can. I've been trying to do everything right. The Lord helps those who help himself, and I've been trying to help myself, but the obstacles have not been lifted. And so, you said your yoke is easy and your burden is light. Well, you know what? Here's mine, because I'm not going to do this anymore, and I'm not going to worry about how I'm going to pay my bills, how I'm going to live my life now. It's no longer up to me, and I need you to take over. And I surrender my life to you. And that day, I got back to my mailbox, and I started the morning, I was $100 like overdraft with no money. That day, that afternoon, after I went through that prayer session, that intense surrender session, there were 4 checks in the mail waiting for me. And I could now put food on my table for the rest of the week, and everything changed from that point. The surrender is what changed my entire life. And then 3 months later, The Chosen came calling, and that started this ascent out of the pit.
It's such a great, I don't want to say story because it's your life, it's such a great example that you have to surrender to the will of God, to be, okay, you do it.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
When you got chosen to be part of The Chosen, did you wanted to portray the Jesus character, or did you have another favorite role?
So I had a pre-existing relationship with the creator of The Chosen. He and I had been working together for the previous 4 years when The Chosen started. And I had done short films for his church. His church would do like an Easter film and a Christmas film. And so I played Jesus for him in 3 films over the course of 4 years. So he asked me to essentially reprise my role as Jesus for The Chosen.
So you played Jesus already a couple of times, right?
Yeah, at that point, before The Chosen, I had probably played Jesus about 5 or 6 times.
Have you always been a Catholic your whole life?
So no, I was baptized Greek Orthodox, and then when we moved out of New York City, my family and I, there weren't a whole lot of communities, Orthodox communities, and so my father went to Catholic school as a kid in Egypt, and my mother is Catholic, so it was just an easy transition to switch over and start attending Catholic church, and I made my first communion and my confirmation as Catholic.
Christians are always told you should become more like Jesus or act the way Jesus did. You actually have to be Jesus in a TV show. Is that a burden to you as well?
It's not a burden, because I could never assume the responsibility of being Jesus other than, in this depiction. I think it's a humbling honor, one that I hope to just do justice to as far as portrayals go, and in some way lead other people to discover who he was and what he meant to the whole of humanity.
You have a lot of experiences as a actor and voice actor. How is it different to play Jesus?
I mean, from a strictly craft point of view, I mean, he's a very different character, you know. As a Christian, we believe that he was both completely divine and completely human. And I don't think there are there aren't any other characters that are based on people that lived on this planet that fit that description. There are, you know, characters that are scripted that have all kinds of crazy powers, like people in the Marvel universe. You know, Jesus was not a superhero. You know, the concept of playing the human portrayal of God is not something you can easily wrap your mind around. So all I can do is focus on what I know, which is what it means to be a human being, and then, you know, let the rest sort of develop on screen.
How much of Jonathan is in your Jesus? Is it really much written by Dallas or whoever written, or do you have also the opportunity to give Jonathan and sentences of Jonathan, especially the humor phrases, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Is there truth of you in this Jesus?
I hope there's some truth in there in the performance. The scripts are written. There are times when there'll be certain improvisations that happen in the moment, particularly when it comes to some of the lighter moments or the moments of humor. For instance, in season 1, episode 6, I think it is episode 6, when I heal the leper, and then I put new clothes on him and I say, "Not too shabby." That was something that just came out. It's something my dad says, and I just sort of said it in the moment, and they left it in, and which was kind of fun. And I think some people are like, why would Jesus say "not too shabby"? Like, there's a lot of modern phrases, you know, in the language. It's written sort of in a modern sense, and with a modern sensibility, which I think appeals to especially younger people too. So the idea is to kind of transliterate, you know, the experience and the scripture into scripts that feel relatable to modern day human.
Yeah, also to older people like me. So you can say to Dallas or the authors, can I say it different?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Dallas is extremely collaborative. And we've been working together now for 7 years, so there's an inherent trust in our process together. If he knows that if I'm coming to him and asking him, and even there was stuff even on season 2 where I said, you know, this seems a little strange for me to say. I'd like to say it differently. Can I say it like this? Or I'll give him a couple of options, and then he might be like, okay, well, what if you say it this way? And then we'll sort of collaborate and come up with something.
How has the way you look at Jesus changed since you tried to flesh him out?
I think my imperfections have become magnified.
Well,
but that's okay.
when you play those beautiful scenes, I imagine a film set is so chaotic, it's stressful, yet you seem so in touch with the person of Jesus. So how do you prepare for that? How does the hour before that, the minutes before you speak the words, look like for you personally?
I pray a lot. It's a lot of distraction to try to block out. So, and I'm not always successful at it. But I think for me, it begins with prayer, contemplation. Whenever we get to a new location, I seek out the nearest church, and I go to church, and I make sure I'm prayed up and just connected spiritually and cleaned out spiritually and open-hearted, hopefully. That's the goal.
Well,
yeah.
Have you been to Germany?
I have been to Germany, but not in a very long time. So I'm due for a trip. So maybe next time I come through there.
Yeah, you should. I invent you now official.
Awesome.
And what is on your heart, your motivation, why you're going through all this? So what is it that your heart burns for?
You know, I think it's just to tell the story well. And if people come away from it changed or their relationship deepened in some way, then that's pretty cool.
Job is done.
I'll take it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time and that we could have this chat together. I feel very honored and very blessed and looking very much forward for more to come.
Thank you, Chris, for the honor is mine.